Hi there, I'm Bevvan Phillips with Total Home Access Solutions, and I'm going to review the SureHands Lifting Care System's portable motor with you. Now we will cover putting a person in a sling separately. All we want to talk about now is this motor. This is a patient lift motor that hangs up on the ceiling. This particular motor can be moved from room to room, which adds to its flexibility. There are a couple of things I want you to be familiar with. You have a hand control to operate going up and going down. This has a little magnet on it, so it can sit here on the box, or you as the caregiver can hold on to this as you're moving a person up and down the track. There's a second set of hand control buttons that go up and down right here on the motor box. Okay? They're positioned right next to this red button, which is labeled an emergency stop. Truly, this just functions as an on and off. Okay? So that's a very important thing to realize. If you ever come to the unit and nothing happens, no sound, nothing, do make sure that you have it on. The I position pushed in. Okay? We'll review that. If you ever walk up to it and nothing happens, no noise, no nothing, make sure that you have the motor on. The emergency stop, or the on-off, is positioned right next to the place where you plug in your charger. You want to charge the motor on a regular basis, so pick out a time of day that you're always going to plug the charger in. You cannot overcharge the batteries in here. When you look at the charging box and you first plug it in, you'll see that it goes to dark red. That means that the batteries are under 80%. It'll pop up very quickly into yellow if you really haven't used them very much, and that means the batteries are between 80% and 99%. When the light on the charging box is green, that means it's 100% charged and it's no longer pulling power and charging up the batteries. You can use the motor in the yellow area, okay? And you can tell that the batteries need to be charged if when you use the motor, it makes a lot of sound. You can hear how quiet this is right now. If it is groaning and grumbling and tweaking and twerting and running slowly, those are signs that the battery needs to be charged. If you find over the years that the batteries don't last as long, like you charge them up like you always did, and you get sound like that pretty quickly, that means that the batteries are nearing the end of their useful life, and you need to call us and have the batteries replaced. Batteries should last at least a year if you take good care of them. Okay? What you can do that damages batteries is to run the unit while it's plugged in. That pulls in too much current and will damage the batteries. It will also damage the batteries if you let them run down totally to zero. So, taking care of batteries, always plug it in on a regular basis. You cannot overcharge it, so plug it in and let it charge when you're not using it. This yellow button here with the little parachute next to it is called an emergency down. What this button does, if there's any kind of weight on here and you push this button, it's basically a down switch. You can always get down. You don't want to use this routinely because you do have a hand control and switches on the box. But that's what this is for, is your free ride down. The SureHands Lifting Care Systems is very, very reliable, but safeties are always built in, and that's what that is. It's your free ride down. Now we'll talk about moving the motor from one room to the next. Obviously, you will not have anybody in the unit when you're moving it. Okay? The unit has to be empty. But what you're going to do, if you look up here, you can see that there's a reacher attached, connecting the motor to the ceiling track. When I bring this motor down, and take weight off of it. So I'm going to bring it down and brace it against my hip. And what you're going to see when I do that is that the reacher is going to drop down within reach. Okay? So I'm going to lift it up a little bit on my hip, and there the reacher is within reach, and there's no tension on the strap, and I can carry it into the next room. Now I don't want to push this part of the motor against my body, because I might accidentally push some of these buttons and turn the unit off, and then I'll be surprised when I get where I'm going. Now we'll pretend that we're finished using it in the other room. We're going to bring it back and hook it back up in this room. Now I could hold it against my body and reach up in the air and hook it up, but I have set it on the bed to save myself a little work. Now here's a little thing I want you to be aware of. If I push the down button to make the strap shorter, the motor will work. But if I push the up button to make the strap longer, it's not doing anything. That's very normal. The motor doesn't think it has any weight on it. So all I have to do is just give it a little bit of tension, and then I can make my strap as long as I want it in order to get the slack that I need to reach up and hook this unit up. I've hooked it up, and now I can make my unit come on up here, get it up where I need it, and we can start a transfer.